Marvel Shang-Chi came out September 3rd, Friday this year, and me being an AMC Stubs member, I went ahead and waited until the following Tuesday so I can get my half off everything. And I know I'm posting this review a lot later than mostly everyone else, but I got work and shit, guys, leave me alone. Okay, so I came into this film with some kind of low expectations because I've seen what the MCU has put out fairly recently with the TV shows, the trailer, and honestly, after seeing the Black Widow film that I've been hyped about for months now, it had me pretty worried for Shang-Chi. Like, even seeing the trailers, I was pretty worried, and I've been hearing a lot of mixed reviews. Some people said it was horrible. People were saying that it was gonna flop, but coming in with the low expectations that I had, I was actually proven wrong, and I was happy to. Marvel Shang-Chi is actually a pretty decent film. Now, some people are gonna say that it's up there with Captain America: The Winter Soldier, but I'll have to respectfully disagree. Okay, so don't get me wrong, the movie's good, but it's not that good. It's like good in the sense that it's not bad at all, but it's like at the same time not all that good, but still a pretty solid film nonetheless. Okay, so on to the plot. I'm gonna try to summarize it, and of course there will be spoilers because I don't do spoiler-free movie reviews. It just doesn't work. Alright, so the plot is pretty simple. Starts off like 1,000 years in the past with the Mandarin ruling over people. He has his 10 rings, which give him immortality. And then he has a son who he trains to be his assassin. But his son gets tired of that life. And so his son, Shang-Chi, decides to move to California, change his name to Shang, and live out a more normal life. And he starts off where he's working as a valet with his best friend Katie, who he's known for 10 years. And I gotta talk about Katie real quick. It starts off with me not liking her at all because she comes off as this really immature, childish, and irresponsible person. Like, she takes one of the client's car keys and decides to go on a joyride with it. And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell are you doing? This is not a good idea at all. You both are gonna get fired for this. But then later cuts to the action. Like, this movie cuts to the action real quick. So like in the next scene, we have the bus scene where they're on the bus, and Shang-Chi gets confronted by these 3 goons who want his pendant. Man, immediately after, he proceeds to surprise the hell out of everybody by beating the ever-living fuck out of these guys with superior kung fu skills that no one knew he had. And like, Katie's looking there like, dude, what the fuck? And then after the 3 goons get beat down and they fail, then their boss, Razor Fist, shows up, and then he pulls out his knife hand, which Razor Fist is like the only character from the comics that I recognize. Like, if you guys are fans of the 70s comics, by the way, you're not gonna find anything from the 70s comics. This movie appears to be taking place in the 2015 and beyond comics, which I haven't read, but if you guys are fans of the 70s comics, you're not gonna find that here. You're not gonna find Black Jack Tar, Lieko Wu, or the cab driver who always called him Chang-Chi instead of Shang-Chi. Love that guy, by the way. But anyways, Razor Fist ends up cutting the bus in half, trying to take the pendant from Shang-Chi, and then him and his goons get separated from the rest of the people. He gets separated from the back half, and everybody else is on the front half. And after that, Shang-Chi has to reveal to his best friend Katie that he's not this normal guy that she thought he was, that he's this trained assassin raised by his father to be a killer. And he has to also tell her that his father is now looking for him and his sister. Now, speaking of his sister, when I saw the trailers, I thought that this girl right here was Lieko Wu, but she's not Lieko, she's his sister, and I think Lieko is supposed to appear eventually. I'm not sure what the future holds, but anyways, now Shang has to go warn his sister that their father is now looking for them, and of course, Katie tags along for the ride. So they meet his sister at this underground fighting ring. Now there's some pretty interesting things happen at this fighting ring. We see Wong and Abomination fighting. Now speaking of Abomination, I wonder if this is like some hint to a much long overdue solo Hulk film, because if it is, that'd be great. And that's a topic for another video. But Shang-Chi finally meets his sister, and they're fighting in one of the higher levels, and his sister just beats the shit out of him for no reason and even kicks him in the balls. Like, come on now. That is not how you treat your siblings. And after that, not Fu Manchu shows up, captures both of his kids, and then the dude's like, I told my men that they could not kill you even if they tried. I'm just glad I'm right. So he seems like a pretty nice guy at first, a good fleshed out villain. So they're having dinner and everything, and again Katie's tagging along for the ride, having dinner with them. And then not Fu Manchu says that he hears his dead wife talking to him, telling him to come free her. And Shang-Chi's like, Dad, what are you talking about? Mom's gone. And she died a long time ago. She got killed by those gang members. Then Mandarin's like, no, I can hear her. She's talking to me. And then he shows them where she's like leaving him clues and whatnot. And then they go to his room where he unleashes the water map that shows him the portal to the magical land where him and his wife first met. And then Mandarin says that he wants to go to the magical land and start a war with the people to bring her back. Then Shang-Chi's like, Dad, what are you doing? This is some bullshit. You can't do this. And then Shang-Chi, his sister, get beaten down. Then Katie gets captured. And then they all get thrown in a dungeon. And they eventually escape, go to the magical land. Shang-Chi and his sister meet their aunt. And then they warn them of the Mandarin's coming assaults, and everyone starts training. Oh yeah, Katie's along for the ride, and everybody's training. Then the Mandarin shows up, wages war on them. Shang-Chi learned how to defeat the Mandarin with 10 rings, the same way that his mother did way back in the day from his aunt. And then they have their fight scene in the back while the war is happening up front. Shang-Chi actually puts up a good fight against his father. Like, I thought this was going to be one-sided, and this is like one thing that I like that the movie did better than the 70s comics did. So in the 70s comics, Shang-Chi does not really have it in him to fight his father, but here in the film he actually faces his father hand to hand, and he does pretty good against him too. But then Shang-Chi gets knocked in the water. Mandarin jumps up to the mountain and starts punching at this door, which he believes his wife is at, but he knocks it down to see that it's not his wife and that he's been deceived this whole time by this death dragon that fooled him into freeing it. And then the death dragon starts sucking souls out of people's bodies. And while Shang-Chi's in the water, this other dragon shows up, which I think is the spirit of his mom. I'm not really sure, but the other dragon comes up with Shang-Chi and helps him fight the death dragon. So Shang-Chi has the 10 rings now from his father. And then Katie, now this is when I start to like Katie. Like, she has only less than 1 day of training, and she was able to shoot down the death dragon with 1 arrow. And then she was thinking about this thing that her mom said about any shot that you don't take, you don't hit anything. So she hits the death dragon with the 1 bow and arrow and ends up saving everybody from the death dragon. And after that, the 10 Rings organization and the people from the magical land joined forces. And then Shang-Chi and Katie go back to their families and talk about all the things that happened. And then Wong shows up in the portal and takes them to investigate the 10 Rings. And then, I think he gets initiated into the Avengers and whatnot, and that's pretty much the plot. I know I messed up a lot, but whatever. So now I want to break things down into things that I like, starting with the characters. Now, this movie actually has some pretty great and fleshed out characters, and this is important because a lot of modern media lack this. Starting with the villain, the Mandarin, which is not Fu Manchu. Now, he's actually up there. Now, after seeing Black Widow and Dreykov, I was kind of worried that Marvel was going back with the forgettable Thor the Dark World, Malekith types of villains that you don't really think about anymore. But the Mandarin was actually done pretty well in this film. So, yes, he's a villain, but when you first meet him, he doesn't really seem like a bad person. He just seems like a man that wants to speak to his dead wife again. But of course, he's going about things the wrong way and has to be stopped. Now, onto another character, Katie. Now, I told you that I started off not liking her because she was immature, childish, and irresponsible. But then she saves the day with less than 1 day of training, which is awesome, and it has me super excited to see what she'll be doing in the future MCU films. And then we have our hero, Shang-Chi, who's a good guy, but he also has this kind of dark side to him, because in his past, when he was an assassin working for his father, he did kill this one man in revenge for what he did to his mother. So he does have this dark side to him, but at the same time, he's a good guy, trying to live a normal life. I'm also excited to see how he'll be interacting with future villains in the MCU, because Kang the Conqueror got confirmed, and I believe Shang-Chi is going to be one of the new Avengers. And then we have Shang-Chi's aunt, which is also pretty awesome. And then we have his sister, whose name I forgot. And she's like this kind of, mandatory, strong female character, which I don't really think is necessary, because we have Aquafina, who is proven to be a really awesome character. And then we have Shang-Chi's aunt, who I mentioned, who's pretty awesome as well. She taught Shang-Chi the martial arts style that his mom used to beat his father back in the day. And she's also shown to be pretty badass as well. And now, onto the setting of the film. Alright, so in this movie, does not feel like a regular superhero movie, as you can see from the trailers. And I remember reading the 70s comics and thinking to myself, wow, now this Marvel franchise feels like a Bruce Lee movie, but in comic book form. And this film really doesn't feel too different. It feels more like a martial arts movie than anything else, but it's still a Marvel franchise, so this can appeal to multiple audiences. Plus you have your magic and your mythical creatures, and then you also have your Chinese characters speaking authentic Chinese, similar to the Black Panther film. You have these native Africans speaking their native tongue, and then showing their real authentic culture that's not Americanized. And this movie does the same thing with its Chinese characters and the Chinese setting when they leave the States and go to China and then go to their magical world. So this film is actually pretty good with the ideas and what it uses, and it can appeal to multiple audiences. So I feel that many people can enjoy this film. Not everybody, but a lot of people would find something that they can enjoy in this film, whether you're a Marvel fan, kung fu movie fan, or or the magic and the mythical creatures appeal to you. A lot of people can find something that they can enjoy in this film. But anyways, I'm just gonna go ahead and wrap this up and give Marvel Shang-Chi a 7.5 out of 10. Well done. But you guys can go see the film for yourself and then tell me what you think about it in the comment section. I'll see you guys in my next movie review.